30, Scotty. The door closes and I'm left alone. Until he returns, this place will feel like a crypt. I know first aid and basic life support, but I don't have the wilderness survival skills Callahan possesses. The dull ache of my shoulder is what's to be expected after having an arm pulled out of its socket and put back again. But it's nothing in comparison to the pounding in my skull. I rifle through my bag and find the first aid kit, then dry swallow a few ibuprofen. The room is roughly 14 by 14 feet, surrounded by wall-to-wall windows. Tall awning shutters protect them from the snowstorm raging outside. It appears they've battened down the hatches for the season. One wall is lined with the scuffed-up lower cabinets Callahan tore through while searching for the QB he kept mumbling about. The cabinets continue halfway down the adjacent wall in an L shape. They remind me of the ones you see in houses built in the 1940s. On the short side, there's an open base cabinet at the end, and it seems the door was removed at some point so it could be used for storing stacks of split logs. A divider is set up near the wood, providing a barrier for the cast iron wood stove that sits on the other side. It's small but likely creates enough heat to easily warm the modest quarters. There's a little windowed door on the front of the stove and a new-ish looking stovepipe that rises, making a couple turns before it meets the ceiling to vent out of the roof. On the opposite wall to the cabinets is a twin bed with a bare mattress. The bed has 2 drawers underneath, providing additional storage, and it's painted white to match the rest of the lookout. A crude handmade nightstand housing books on a shelf sits next to it, probably added sometime later. The center of the room is taken up by a small island, and on top sits a large circle-shaped instrument with a topographic map. I assume it's used by the lookout to calculate the location of wildfires. I pick up the lantern to explore. Directly underneath the freestanding cabinet is a pass-through space that reaches the other side, and a few notebooks and maps sit in the opening. Below, clipboards hang from hooks on the side. I glance over the papers clipped to them. There's some kind of daily logs that Callahan probably understands, but to me, read like nonsensical jargon. Shallow shelves are built into another side of the island. A pair of binoculars, an old metal tin, field guides, writing utensils, and other miscellaneous items sit in the cubbies. A first aid kit hangs from another side, and beneath it is an old picture of Smokey Bear, who tells me that only I can prevent forest fires. The corners are peeling and the tape has yellowed with age. The remaining wall of the island has a sky chart nailed to it. It's probably been there for half a century based on how badly the images have been bleached by the sun. I head toward the bed and open one of the drawers, pleased to find linens and blankets. Dryer sheets are tucked into the bedding. It reminds me of home where we did the same thing to keep mice out of the church's altar linens. The artificial smell of clean cotton permeates the musty space. After making the bed, I get acquainted with the rest of the room. The white cabinets could use another layer of paint, but they're in better condition than the ones at my apartment. What's in here anyway? With the lantern in hand, I peer inside. The first one has a few plastic rodent-proof containers stocked with cans of food and a few bags of prepackaged soups or other ready-to-eat meals. Whoa, that's a huge win. Another door houses a green metal toolbox and a broom and dustpan sit next to it. Nearby, an open cabinet showcases a folded-up camp stove and forest green cans of propane. A set of drawers reveal a dented steel pot and other cookware. The shallow one at the top has silverware, a can opener, and a couple random cooking gadgets. I close the cabinets Callahan left open as I investigate. I'm cold, my body's shivering, but my mind is in such a strange place right now. Everything feels out of order. Concussion. Thoughts flit in and out like waves of consciousness. There's something I should be doing, but I don't know what it is. My eyes scan the room and land on the firewood. Fire. I have the logs, but I need matches or some kind of fire starter. I search the shelves but can't find anything. The moment I open one of the drawers, the lantern flickers and goes out, dousing the room in inky blackness. I smack the lantern. Nothing. Peachy. Just peachy. Now I will never find those damn matches. Dilling around for my backpack, my fingers brush the canvas, then I navigate through the pockets to find my cell phone. I open the flip phone, but nothing happens. Then I press a button to light up the screen, but it doesn't turn on. I feel for the power button, and hold it down, nothing. Maybe it's cold. I slip it in my bra, hissing when the cold plastic touches my flesh, and continue digging for anything that might substitute a fire starter. I open a few other compartments, feeling around with my hands, but it's no use. Even using my fingers to feel the objects, I struggle to decipher what it is I'm touching. I might have touched 5 lighters by now, but my brain wouldn't know the difference. I sit at the corner of the L-shaped cabinets and pull my knees to my chest. The lack of light plays tricks on my eyes, and static blinks in front of me, adding to the headache. I don't like it. I feel more claustrophobic here than when I was trapped earlier. After a period, my sense of time has me questioning how long ago Callahan left. It must have been half an hour by now, right? If it hasn't been half an hour, it shouldn't be much longer. He'll be here any moment. The darkness makes every second feel like an hour. Counting gives me something to focus on instead of the utter dread of loneliness and abandonment. Did something happen to him? Is he hurt? He's right. I fucked up so badly. I should have turned around sooner. God damn it. I returned to counting in sets of 60, attempting to measure minutes. After 10, I get fidgety. Something's not right. He should be back by now. What if he found an easy path back and left me here to get more help? I could be alone for hours. I pull my arms from the sleeves and curl them to my chest. The wind is no longer stealing my warmth, but it's still bitterly cold. There has to be a way to heat up. The absence of light is disorienting. Crawling along the cabinets, I open 2 doors before I lay my hands on the large, smooth rectangle. I remember this from before. What is it? Focus. Camp stove. Next to it are the curved propane tanks. There has to be some light outside still, right? On my hands and knees, I feel my way to the door and turn the handle. It flies open, sending tiny, biting flakes whirling inside. Eyes a black void of nothingness, save for the freezing air that lashes every inch of my exposed flesh. I lean my weight into the door to close it. This is bad. This is really bad. Dropping to the floorboards, I scoot to my previous spot and feel around for the camp stove and propane tanks. Perhaps matches are inside. After several tries, I figure out how to lift the lid and run my fingers along the top, side, and every greasy crevice. No matches. I continue down the line of cabinets, searching by touch. Never in my life have I wished for a lighter so badly. I have all the tools to keep the fire going, but without that first spark, it's pointless. With this head injury, who the fuck knows how long it's been? Maybe it's been only 15 minutes instead of 30. Count again. I count to 600. Another round of 10 minutes. Then another 10. We're definitely over the 30-minute mark. I've counted that many at least. Right? Did I miss any numbers? I probably missed numbers. What if he fell off a ledge? What if he needs help? I'm so stupidly powerless. Please, 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 ... double quotes. I drop my face into my hands and breathe slowly. There's no way I'm sleeping until he's back. What if he never comes back? What if morning comes and he's still not here? If he dies trying to keep us alive, I'll never escape the guilt. Shaking off the anxiety, I tuck loose hairs behind my ears, feeling the crusty, matted blood in the strands. It's going to come back. He has to come back. Counting is all I know how to do. It's useless, but it keeps my spiraling thoughts occupied. When I reach 433, the door blows open and a light explodes into the darkness I've been staring into for hell knows how long. Oh my God. The release of my fear is strong enough to spin my emotions into thoughtless rage. I furrow my brow and yell at him. It makes no sense, but I'm unable to grasp logic at the moment. You said you would be back in 30 minutes. What the fuck took you so long? Callahan sets the giant water cube down with a huff, shoving it to the side with his boot. Then he closes the door behind him and faces me. The light from his headlamp is blinding, so I shield my eyes and keep my gaze on the floor. I've been in darkness too long and don't want to close my eyes. Are you actually serious right now? Can I take off my pack before you lose your goddamn mind? Jesus Christ. He's panting when he unclips the straps across his chest and hips and lets the bag slide off his shoulders. He gestures to the 5 gallons of water with an open palm. Do you see that? You're fucking welcome, he shouts back at me. I didn't know where you were. The stream was covered in snow, so I had to go farther down before I found it. Oh, good Lord, woman, you're a piece of work, he mutters, shaking his head in frustration. Cal turns around and points to the stove. You didn't start a fire? What the hell have you been doing since I've been gone? He turns off his headlamp, and we're plunged into blackness, so he turns it back on. I couldn't find the matches in the dark. Oh, but you had time to make the bed and play house? Super. So glad you had your priorities straight. He grabs a few small pieces of wood and drops them in front of the stove, then finds a box stashed inside the corner and thrusts it in my face. Matches. He reaches down and snatches up a neon green stick lighter. Lighter. I looked there, I swear I looked there. I just didn't know what I was touching. He glares in my direction. He's not just mad, he loathes me. I can't blame him after all the shit I put him through today. My lips form a thin line, and I hold back tears as he yells.
31. Callahan. It's fucking freezing. I can't believe she didn't light a fire. My hands are devoid of any color when I tug my gloves off, even on the fingers cut by that rock earlier. Her voice lowers until she's mumbling. We're gonna freeze to death in this tower, aren't we? I groan. With all your bitching, hopefully sooner than later. Shut up. This is serious. Laughing without humor, I say you shut up. Not my best comeback, but I can't deal with her negative attitude. The laceration on her forehead has me biting my tongue before I say anything more. She needs to take care of that. She must see me staring at it because her fingers find the edge of the cut, then she pulls them away. I'll deal with it, I'm sure, I say, rolling my eyes. I drop the box of matches in front of the wood stove and select the skinniest pieces of tinder. Opening the little door, I squat down on the balls of my feet and am immediately greeted by a stiff, dead squirrel with no eyes. It's at that moment she has the genius idea to instruct me on how to start a fire. Me, a hotshot. I light fires for a living, and she thinks she knows better than me? I about lose it on the spot, my blood pressure skyrockets. I cannot believe the level of frustration this woman brings. I'll stroke out before I freeze to death with her. I remove the squirrel and drop it on the floor, as she continues to tell me how to do my own damn job. Slowly I turn my head to glower at her. You're fucking brain damaged if you think I don't know how to start a fire. Team just trying to help, she shouts, crossing her arms. You want to help? Here, get rid of this. I pick up the squirrel and lob it toward her like a big fat dart. The squirrel torpedoes through the air with its tail flapping and lands next to her on the ground with a soft thump. What the hell is that? She brings her face closer to inspect it, then screams and scrambles backward. Turning back to the stove with a small satisfied grin, I get the kindling set up and adjust the damper, so there's less wind barreling through as I try to light it. I'm pleased when the dry slivers of wood catch quickly and heat rolls off the fresh flames. Asshole. Something hits my back with a thud. I know you didn't just chuck that squirrel at me, I say, a warning in my voice. You threw it first. I twist around on my heels, dropping a knee, and glance down. Sure enough, there's our flat, furry friend. I clutch the squirrel and shake it at her with each declaration. I saved your ass by pulling you out from under that rock. I practically carried you up this mountain. I gave you shelter. I fetched you water. I started this fucking fire. I gave you everything, Prescott, everything, and it's still not enough for you. Holy shit, that felt good to get off my chest. She clamps her mouth shut. I hold my breath, and we stare at each other for a solid 10 seconds, barely blinking. Finally, I break the silence. I'm not playing catch with you, get rid of it. On the last shake, the critter's neck snaps and the head falls to the floor. I gaze down at the eyeless, shriveled rodent face with orange teeth. Ooh, she's got the nerve to bite her lip and look away as she attempts to smother a grin. Does she think this is funny? Don't you dare laugh. I'm not, she says, her lips breaking into a smile around the words. She can't even look at me with a straight face. I fling the body back to her and it lands at her feet. This time she picks up both pieces of the squirrel and wisely steers for the door. I purse my lips and return to stoking the fire. It was kind of funny. Holding my hands up to the flames, I rub them together, willing the blood to return, and it's not long before prickles work their way to my fingertips. I hiss through my gritted teeth as the nerve pain intensifies. She opens and closes the door quickly, evicting the dead vermin. Behind me, the sound of a zipper and rustling of her bag tells me she's rifling through it for something. Get over here and warm up, I growl. A couple seconds later, she squats down next to me and offers a small bottle of sanitizer. Here. I take it from her and rub it on my hands. They're still rigid as the numbness takes its sweet time dissolving. Sorry about the lantern, I say, barely above a whisper. I don't want to apologize first, but I do it anyway. In front of the flames. She doesn't respond, and we simply crouch shoulder to shoulder. Thank you for starting a fire. She unzips and shrugs out of her coat. Nodding in my direction, she encourages me to do the same. Get down to your base layers. In a minute. I'm too tired to move. Are these boots wet? She reaches down and unties the knots in my laces. How do you think I found the stream? My toes are numb. While she does that, I turn off my headlamp. I don't need to see how pale they are. I sit down and she yanks at the boot, removing it from my foot, then peeling off my wool socks. Even with the dim orange light from the stove, my feet look like they belong in a morgue. She rubs them carefully and guides me to sit closer to the crackling fire. Ah, I say as my heels feel like they re-getting poked with needles. Wimp, she mutters, pulling off her own boots and socks. Hers are equally pale, save for the delicate pink nail polish on her toes. It fucking hurts, I argue. She ignores me, pushing down her soft shell pants. I raise an eyebrow. How big of a show are you gonna give me, I ask. Mostly to piss her off. She's kinda hot when she's feisty. You're a dick, I shrug. Well, I'm a dick that's going to keep you warm tonight. You have no idea how many women would love to be on the receiving end of that sentence. She scoffs. Team aware of your proclivities. You don't need to rub salt in the wound. What's that supposed to mean? I roll my eyes and scoot back to grab the first aid kit hanging on the side of the island. Speaking of wounds, shove the box toward her. She pops the latch and digs around until she finds a sterile alcohol pad, then brings it to her forehead to wipe away the dried blood. However, without a mirror, she misses a lot of it. I watch her struggle until I can't take it anymore. Here, give it to me. Close your eyes. She does, and I flip my headlamp on, aiming it at her forehead. The first time I'm getting a good look at the gash along her hairline dried blood cracks. Flaking off as I clean up the crusty edges. It's a gnarly cut. She probably should have gotten stitches. I fold the pad in half and dab off the rest of the dirt on her face. How is it? She asks. Better. You're gonna have a decent scar though. I don't remember how it happened. Still have a headache? I mutter. I took some ibuprofen, it took the edge off. Concussion, I ask. Probably. Shit, I don't know what to do for a concussion. So what do I have to do? Make sure you don't fall asleep or something? She shakes her head no. I'm able to hold a conversation with you. You're able to argue with me, I correct. Even better. Besides, if I decide to die or have a seizure, there's nothing you'll be able to do about it anyway. So the cup's half full then?